Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. Today we're going to be talking about Marvel's Avengers. We're going to be talking about combat and why it is very important that this aspect of the game be much more emphasized, be polished and fine-tuned over the course of the game, and actually be made more robust as the game progresses. Now, I wanted to just also say thank you to those of you who saw my last video who provided feedback. I tried my best to find a good comparison for a video game, and I felt the standard to use was Batman Arkham Knight because that game is 5 years old, and I compared some of the sound, aspects of the combat with Black Widow. And I understand there are different sound discrepancies here and there, but I just did that as a picture to point out, and it's something that you would have to explore yourself to, gain a final conclusion of, if you get what I mean. But then if you look at the way combat in this game has been emphasized or has been marketed or has been, showcased, it hasn't really been, showcased by the developers that much. And I think they've done so because of trying to avoid spoilers, come the reveal of the main game. And this is, in my opinion, not something that I feel they should have, taken a bet on. In fact, from the onset of this game, they've been really sparing with information that they wanted to release. Remember when they showed that, preview of A-Day at E3, and then they went to the closed door event and showed the press gameplay. And the press people told them, why didn't you just show the gameplay to everybody, and people would have been much more excited. So I think their marketing has been really weird and a little off, and also the marketing is causing a lot of raising a lot of dust in the community right now. You have people jumping on the wagon of hating on the game, beating on the game, talking about how the marketing is all over the place, when in reality there are many video games that have the very same thing that are in them, and the same people critiquing this game have all praised many other games that have these issues. They cannot be consistent. And so it really calls their credibility into question if they cannot access or talk about, why they feel they've changed their position, at least to take a stance against Marvel Avengers. But then you think about it, I think they need to emphasize this because combat is very important when you come into an action game, especially an action superhero game. And why I'm saying this is because you had in the beginnings of when, superhero games started to gain more quality, you had Rocksteady at the forefront. You had studios like Beanox who were making Spider-Man games for Activision. And these companies were making the fighting in their games quite enjoyable and quite a lot of fun. And if you think about the Spider-Man games that span through the PlayStation, 2 and 3, and even some that walked into the PlayStation 4 era, even before Marvel's Spider-Man, combat and fighting is basically the major aspects you have to consider in a superhero game. Yes, story, plot, all that stuff is also pretty good, but what's the point of having a superhero if you cannot knock bad guys out in a very fun and exciting way? And so that's why I believe strongly that they need to start with some sort of a marketing campaign that's showing more trailers, more action, more fighting, and even do something, maybe even a war table before the game is released to showcase a little bit more that's pertaining to the fighting, because this game is a dedicated game. We're going to be exploring content, farming gear, and all of that. But what's going to really set this game apart and pretty much show what it's about is if they can actually expose more of that fighting mechanics, to the audience. And that's just one way that they can actually do it, because it will provide, more information as to the in-depth details of the game. Because yes, there is a gear game that's detailed enough. Honestly, from an RPG perspective, I think that's already enough. They have a skill game where you can, level up skills, develop your character, make them stronger, make them more adept in combat. That's pretty good. And then you also have, other layers as well that come in. And I think these other layers need to be shown, like, your heroic abilities, all kinds of things like buffs and all that. And I think that's basically going to satisfy, people who may be sitting on the fence. They'll be able to make up their minds one way or the other. Now, another way that they can actually emphasize the combat is actually making it much more robust by actually showcasing future characters as we're going along the way. Now, I know, it's quite, novel in a marketing sense to kind of wait a little bit before revealing this character and then, try to create hype for, maybe a 30 to 60 day cycle and then release another, showcase or tease another character. And I think that's, one way to do it. But guess what? We've already gotten one character tease, but we haven't seen anything about this character that, relates to the combat, just kind of a, oh, it's Hawkeye and he just walks out of this place and, everything goes dark. Well, what's Hawkeye able to do? We saw a bunch of arrows and the bad guys, but we haven't seen Hawkeye in combat. And now the next question that really comes to mind is Hawkeye's combat going to be generic, or is he going to be able to stand out? If you see Hawkeye in action and you like what you see, I'm just, pretty much more, in the spot where if somebody was maybe even checking out the game and they saw that Hawkeye played in a very cool, fun way, then this is one way that the development team can showcase what they're really made of. If you think about the people who make up this development team for Crystal Dynamics, to make this Avengers game, they're industry veterans. Now I get it. I don't think they had enough time to really synergize what this combat would look like from, the aspect of that polish that we're used to. And when I say polish we're used to the polish from single player games. And I can understand that this is an online game. It's probably going to have, not as much as the quality and the focus, but guess what? It's a superhero game. And at that point, we're looking and expecting even just as good quality, regardless if it's going to be an online game or not, because there's supposedly a very strong offline component for those who may not want to play online or for those who want to play solo. So when you even consider that, what is their enjoyment factor going to be if not for perhaps, say, the combat sequences and the combat aspects of the game? And so this is why I think combat being revealed and exposed and used as a much more stronger marketing front is exactly what this game needs right now, especially with the buzz and, especially with the mixed reactions that, many people are talking about around the community. But nonetheless, whether or not they expose the combat, I've already played a piece of the, the closed beta. I'm looking forward to playing the closed beta on PC coming soon. Hopefully I'll be streaming that. And I want to see what the graphics on PC are able to bring to the table. So I'm already sold nonetheless, because it's a superhero game. Even though I'm a DC fan, I've been wanting a superhero game, and anybody that's bringing the first one out there, they have my attention. Hopefully Suicide Squad's able to bring something good, if not even better. As a DC fan, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I would like for the Suicide Squad game to be really strong, but at the same time, before we get there, I'll be enjoying the Marvel Avengers game while I wait for that Suicide Squad game. Anyways, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for your support. If you want to get more Avengers content, hit the subscribe button. Stick around. I'll be bringing a lot more of that stuff. Hopefully when the game, is finally in its full form, and hopefully we get a more polished product too. When and hopefully this beta is an old build. I'm really hoping that this beta is a really old build and a lot more polish is going to be coming to the game. But like I said, nonetheless, I will be playing the game as the game progresses and matures and develops. All right, I'll see you guys in another video. Peace.